Hello YouTube, thanks for tuning into this video. So this one is another one on ArrangerKing. If you're not sure what ArrangerKing does, it's this little plugin that basically helps you work out the arrangements of your songs. And there are loads and loads of different templates in different styles. If you click on here, you've got all these different styles. And then down here you've got all these different arrangements. I've just got one on Club Anthem at the moment because I'm doing like a clubby anthem. So I'm not going to go into full detail what ArrangerKing does in this video. I have already covered that in a previous video, so I will link to that in the description if you want to have a look at what you can do with it. It's quite a cool little plugin. You can like mute, if I wanted to like mute all the build-ups, I can mute those and jump to those sections and that kind of thing, and it just gives you a good visual representation of kind of how to build up your song. It doesn't write the song for you. You've got to fill all these bits in here. You know, it's not one of these things, an AI thing that's just going to write the thing for you. But it is very useful. And if you do want to buy it, there is a code for, I think it's 50% off in the description as well. So click on that and you'll get a nice discount. Now, this video is about how I'm thinking of sort of helping me use this in my DAWless songwriting, because I use, sometimes I'll write stuff in Ableton, sometimes I'll write something completely DAWless. I like to do a mixture of the two. I'm going to cover that shortly. First thing I'm just going to go through is a few updates that ArrangerKing has had. This is now on version 1.2. So there's a few little changes to it which are quite useful. The first one is these blocks, I think they tend to call these buildings. You can now just kind of make your own custom shapes on these, because they were just rectangles if I remember rightly before. So if you just click on it and you get that little like semicircle thing, and you can make them as big and like, you know, drop, you might want to make it smaller or like drop down or that kind of thing. Again, it's a nice little addition that's just another visual thing that you can kind of see how your song is going to be mapped out, and then you can fill all the sections in. If you kind of hold your cursor over one of these, it will give you a little bit of a guide about, you know, what to put in these sections, which is quite useful, I think, particularly if you're fairly new to songwriting and arranging. Excuse me. Yeah, a useful little thing. Not sure if that's new or not, or if that was on the previous one. If you right click on these, you can now rename these. So if I wanted to call this, you know, massive build up, then I can. But again, it's just that little thing just to personalize it a little bit, because you want to, and you can see it'll change all the corresponding sections as well. So you might want to call it, you know, chorus, and then you might have a different section in here that you could call chorus with slightly more good stuff in it or something, I don't know. And then the other thing that you can do in the update is you can now drag these blocks around. So if I think actually I want a solo break to come before the chorus, we can just drag and drop these around like that. So they're the additions or the changes that have come in version 1.2, just to help make it a little bit more user friendly. So obviously it's designed to be used in a DAW, because if you watch my original video, you can see how you can jump between the sections of the track, and you can mute sections. You see if I click on there, that would mute my massive build up, which sounds a bit wrong. But anyway, you can see if I want to mute all the choruses, it will mute them out, and the verses and outros and intros and so on. But I have a similar problem of arranging songs when I'm using just like a DAWless setup. As I said previously, I like to use Ableton and I like to use DAWless stuff. Let's just change my cameras over to, here is an example of one of my DAWless groove boxes on the Deluge. So I've put together a little template on here, and if I can work out how to do it, I will link I'll put a link where you can download this for free, this template, or a couple of templates. If, by the way, you do want to get the whole contents of my SD card for the Deluge, then head over to my Patreon, support me on there, and you can download all of that from there. Again, links to that are in the description down below. And if you just want to support the channel anyway, then you can also do so via Patreon. So what I thought was, if I've got like an arrangement here that I like the look of, and I want to transfer this over to the Deluge, or indeed anything else. I mean, other groove boxy things I've got are like the Wove box. I've got an MPC Key 37. I've got an MPC Live as well. It would work on those as well. So, for example, if you're familiar with the Wove box, you could go into a song and you could make your They call them fragments. You could make those the same sections based on let's just go back to the screen. Based on here. Sorry about the scratching noise in the background. That's my dog who was just about to try and lie down next to me, and he's decided to dig a hole in the carpet. Freds, sit down. Good boy. Where was I? Yes, so you could say, okay, I'm going to do my first fragment on the Woovebox, or my first sequence, for example, on the MPC is going to be 32 bars. Then I'm going to have a 16 bar, and you can name them accordingly. Based on this, but let's go back to the deluge because I'm going to do this based on the good old deli. So what I do with this is I've set up, this is just what I've called EDM template 1 based on this arrangement. In fact, if I bring, no, so we'll do it on here first. Okay, so what I've basically got is these are the sections of the song. I've got 8 different sections because I've got 8, if I remember rightly. I've got 8 on here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. So the only restriction on the deluge at the moment, I'm not sure if this is going to change in future updates. I've got a feeling I read something about this recently, that you've only got 12 sections. But to be fair, you probably don't need more than 12 sections in a song. Certainly not for the sort of stuff that I make anyway. Okay, so if I hold on these, and hopefully you can see this. So basically, all these first 8 tracks I've put in, I'm just using MIDI channel 1. You can use whatever MIDI channel you want. You can use different synths or whatever, but I didn't want to use up any of the synths, so I'm just doing it with MIDI channels. So this first one is, and I don't know if you can see it on there, but I've named it intro 32 bars. Next one is build up 16 bars. Next one is drop 16 bars, breakdown 32 bars, and so on, which I have done based on, and let's bring the deluge up on here. Okay, which I mapped out based on, I think it was this one, but I'm not sure. So they've got breakdown 32 bars, we've got a build up, 16 bars, and then we've got drop 2, and then we've got break, and then we've got outro. Now the great thing I find with the deluge now is, rather than using it on this view, is if you go on the grid view, it kind of makes more sense looking at your arrangement, and then when we go into the arranger, it makes even more sense using it this way around. So basically I've sacrificed, oh, I don't know what my voice was doing then. You sort of got to ignore this first row because this is your arrangement. Okay, so as I hold on here, again, let's just go back to the full screen on the deluge. So as I hold on there, you can see there, oh no, wrong one. Okay, so there's the intro, there's the build up, there's the drop, there's the breakdown, and so on. So if you remember when you're in grid view, these are your sections, and across the top are your instruments. So let's say I want to put in a new instrument here. I've got a 909 on there. So let's just, on that first section, we'll put a kick in, and then we'll copy that down. And on the second section, let's put a hi-hat in, and let's do another third section. We'll put the snare in. Okay, so I've now got my different sections. Got the kick drum on the first section. The thing you got to remember is that first section is now 32 bars long. So as I'm going down there, you've got to wait for quite a while. But the second section, and then third section. Okay, let's just put a bass or something in there. Okay, we've got a bass in there anyway. Let's just do that, and then let's get down an octave. Okay, so my first section, then second section. Okay, let's just copy that down. Okay, so I'm going to write those parts based on what we've got here. We would have a 32 bar intro, and then we'd have a 16 bar build up, and then we'd have a 16 bar drop. Okay, so then when we go into Arranger view, we've got along the top row, we've got like a color-coded sections on that top row showing our arrangement, and you can zoom in and zoom out depending on how much of it you want to see. You know, so if I've got like 16 bars, we can scroll across 2 pages and whatever. So I'd basically just put these in based on the color sections down here, just in the arranger mode. So it's just a case of putting it in and turning the dial, and then you've got it in there. And this is basically what I would keep as a template. So I would probably have several of these set up on the Deluge and think, okay, I want to do a song that's, I mean, the one I've got here is, it's suggested it's like 4 minutes 48 seconds at 120 beats per minute. So I've got all these templates that I can set up on here, and then I can start to bring the stuff in on the arrangement. So there's the 909. So if I brought that in, what was my first section? So it's blue, pink, and then yellow. So if we made that a blue one, okay, made that last, say 4. And then we could bring in pink one, and then we could perhaps bring in the bass there on the blue one. So as we now go through our arrangement, let's just speed the tempo a bit to get there a bit faster. In fact, let's make that a little bit shorter because that's going to go on forever, isn't it? 4 bars per column. Let's just go 1 bar, 2 bars per column. Okay, and then we'll bring in pink one, then perhaps the yellow one, and let's bring the first bass in there. So we've got a kick drum intro, and then it's going to come in with okay, and then we can zoom out, and you can see the whole song on screen if you want, but then we can say that, okay, so that's going to be our intro, then when we get to here we're going to bring in the parts for our build up and all sorts. So it takes a little bit of setting up just to get those few templates in there, but once you've got them in there, then you've only got to do that once. And I just find this very useful, that I'm not getting stuck in an 8-bar loop. I can go over to my arranger and think, okay, I've filled that section. We need to write something now that's going to be the build up and the drop and so on. Obviously on the Deluge you can insert different, if you want to insert or delete sections, you can as your arrangement continues. So yeah, it's just a little idea of how to use ArrangerKing, not just in a DAW. So I think it's a great little VST plugin type thing that works whether you're. I probably wouldn't recommend just getting it for DAWless layouts. I don't know, you might want to, but obviously you need a DAW to run it. But if you're like me, and I think quite like a few people, if you use both DAWless stuff and in the box stuff, it is very, very useful. And I think with these, once you've got these templates down on your hardware, I mean, something like the Deluge, I don't usually I like to not sit and look at a computer screen, but it means I can get that layout in there, take it away from the studio, and I know I've got that template that I can work on to write my song. And it's very useful and gets you out the good old stuck in an 8-bar loop thing, which I think we've all been in many, many times. So there we go. It's, a little bit of a tip and trick there. Hopefully that's of some interest to some people. And like I say, yeah, it'll work on, it's not just a Deluge thing. You can use it on any kind of groove box where you can make those sections up. Use the DAW to do that, and then you are screen free after that once you've got the template into your groove box. So thanks for watching. If you want to support the channel, please do so via the link in Patreon, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Cheers.